What's going on, guys? Today on this Shoki third-party Transformers review, we're going to take a look at something new, sort of, from the least controversial company ever. It is going to be the Studio 01 Cell. Right. So that's the thing. Now, this thing has the most unique packaging I've probably ever seen, and it says Merry Christmas on it. And it looks like it's wrapped in stuff. You get these crazy little alien demony guys. I think this is probably my favorite, though that one's probably in second. And of course, you saw me get this many weeks ago on the in the kitchen video. And you got little boxes, drums, stuff like that. It says Merry Christmas right across there. Now, this is the kind of alternate packaging for this. The original packaging just sort of had these guys on it and nothing super crazy. They just came out with a Christmas edition for reasons. And then you come around here and it says ho ho ho, joy, peace, ho ho ho, all those things, Merry Christmas. Come around here, all the same things. It really does just look like a wrapped thing. And if you come to the bottom down here, you got choking hazard, small parts contain collectible item for ages 16 and up. And hey, I'm right in the middle of all that. And it says not suitable for children under 3. Yes, you should definitely not give this to a 3-year-old. They'll definitely hurt themselves. Not for sale, 2020, made in China. That is quite funny that this is definitely not for sale. Now, this is only half the packaging. So let's look at the other packaging. So the rest of the packaging looks like this. It's this much smaller box. It's incredibly dusty and dirty because, well, it's been laying around for a little while. Also, I was doing some sanding, so that's not necessarily dust. It's plastic sand. Anyways, and this is a little black box with some chrome stuff on it. It just says Armor MB08, completely unrelated. It says 2020 Armor Toys made in China, and there's literally nothing else going on here. Nothing else. I do have something still in the other box I need to remove for this review, but yeah, comes in 2 very discreet, completely unrelated boxes, and that was on purpose. And originally, when this figure was released, it was controversial. I'll get into that here in a bit, probably at the end, maybe we'll discuss that. But for the most part, originally you had to buy both things separately to make this happen. You had to buy the cell, then the armor add-on parts, and like I said, they're meant to just look like completely unrelated things. I know, it's really strange. Moving on! Alright, so out of the box, it does come with a couple extras. So you get these armor plates, which replace some orange panels with blue ones. And frankly, I don't understand that particular concept because the particular character this is emulating is mostly orange. The other thing that's weird about it, unless it's in one of these boxes, the little spines that he comes with are all orange that would go on these. So I have no real plan to use these. I'm not even going to show them in place because it's more work than I want to do. I don't even know if there's screws involved. There are instructions as well. So you get this poster of instructions. Is it? Yeah, it's double-sided. Okay, so I mean, if you look at it here, it says replace different color parts. So you do have to have a screw for at least these parts, and you have to push a pin out to replace that. I'm not going through all that. Let's just be honest with me. Oh, that's interesting. Sorry, I just noticed something. Cool. I'll have to deal with that here in a minute. But basically, this is the instructions for transforming it to bot mode from cell mode, as it were. It's got a very interesting mode that makes it into a cell. Now, this is the only set of instructions you get, and they're not entirely great. Some spots are very weird and don't exactly lead you to know exactly what you're supposed to do. There was some trial and error. I actually had to watch Imgo's transformation video to learn exactly how certain things went. So that's all this. Once again, you got not for sale 2020 made in China, choking hazard, small parts contained, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, replace different color parts. So let's get to it. All right, guys. So here we have Studio 01 Cell as he is out of the box. And of course, you got some nice legs down here. So if you get him straight out of the box, hold on, I gotta loosen this up just a little bit. There we go. And then this is how he comes. Just a cool robot. Got a very interesting flat head with a visor here and these cool shoulder shields with this energy field coming out of it. You know, probably like an eye field from Gundam, that kind of stuff like that. So this is realistically what you buy in the big box in and of itself. It's a pretty cool robot. I mean, it looks kind of familiar, but you know, I just I don't know. I don't know. That's all I can say about it. I mean, the big shoulder shield thingies are interesting in and of themselves. They are just kind of held in with these plastic little pins right here that go through the center of that part. And then you can plug the effect parts on there. I guess technically those aren't necessary, but they're cool. So this is everything that comes in box one, which is fine and dandy. Now, the only reason I'm showing this off is because there's not a good point to have shown it off in another way. So what I'm going to do now is blow your minds, because we're going to go immediately to planet mode. All right, and there's Cell in his cell mode. It's weird. I totally get it, you know, with that and that. And of course, you want to watch the Taro video, go check that out, because that's what I've been filming to get to this point, which is a giant pain in my butt. But no pun intended. Let's just skip the ceremony here and do the thing. Are you ready for the reveal? I don't know, I'm just being a dork. There he is in planet mode, proper Unicron planety mode. I mean, it's not Unicron. Totally not Unicron. Hasbro, it's not Unicron, I swear. That's why we renamed it Studio One Cell. So, I will talk about the weird controversy of this figure at the end of the video, and you guys can let me know your thoughts down below. But, of course, go watch the Taro video. I've already said it probably a couple times, but for me, that was 30 minutes ago. That's what it took to kind of like get this last section together. So now that he's in this mode, I'm going to go ahead and get him on the turntable and see if this thing can actually hold up something this heavy. He's at least a few pounds. Oh, look at that. We're just going to look at it. I'm going to zoom in on it and stuff. Yeah. And of course, if you watch the Taro video, you'll see exactly how hard parts of this are, especially around, you know, this whole section right through here. This is all a pain in the butt. Even certain panels, still not 100%, but pretty good. And I do like that for the most part, until he gets to planet mode, he is totally symmetrical. I guess realistically, from top to bottom in planet mode, he is symmetrical. So there's that. Another thing I did in between videos is I put these spikes back on, because for his out-the-box version of Cell, he doesn't use those. You actually, realistically, don't have to use any of the spikes, but I took those off because you can't put the shoulder shields on in that mode. But just look at this thing. It's beautiful. It is beautiful. Look at it. All right, so actually, I'm going to get him off the turntable. Yep, let me scooch this up. All right, so this is where I wish I had a wide angle lens, but you can see here with his mandibles, they can move in and out. They can swivel. It is that. You have this whole look right here, which is meh, if I'm honest. And these do move, but it's holding a secret, so I'm not going to actually unleash that. And then also, you've got these little bits. So with the way he transforms into bot mode, it tweaks these ends. You can see this one has a very finite bend to it right at the end, and this one's actually lost some of its curve. It's straightened out, but then it's also tweaked up and down. And then if I come in close, you can see a lot of this in detail. So this is orange painted on blue. This is blue painted on orange. You've got some gunmetal paint up there, and just little details. And here's an interesting bit here. So that's actually a translucent part over silver, which is cool. You get all these little bits and pieces. You get all the spines. You got the orbital ring, so to speak, how it plugs in together. And you see on the Taro video how I modified mine slightly. You also have sections and tabs here that really are problematic. You can see on both sides it's slightly problematic, but he's pretty cool in and of itself. Now he does come with the base down here, which was the, oh, that's a cool reflection, look at that. Which was, of course, the shoulder bit. And you do get two of those, so you get the other one here, which also serves a purpose, which is cool but unnerving. So open up the mandibles, and you've got 4 holes and 4 pegs. And you have to shove this into place in a very unnerving manner. And it's not a great fit, if I'm honest, but it works. And you get the kind of gaping maw, as it were. And of course you can bring those in. So that's when he's talking to Galvatron, getting ready to make him into Unicron. It's pretty cool. I like it. Then you got all these spines that are everywhere. And you do get the effect part as well. But I want to show off a cool thing. If you come in here and you go, doot, you get the light from his core, which is pretty freaking cool. And if I turn off the light, you can see how badass that is and why they left this translucent. That's actually very cool. Let me see if I can brighten that up just a little bit there, so you guys can see that. And then if you take the translucent part, you can plug it into the 4 holes that are in that. We can get it lined up properly. Nope. Actually pushed too hard. So now you've got that situation, which is cool in and of its own self. Alright guys, so for size comparison, so you can see how big he actually is. There's Wally. Or we can do this. Get your arms up, Wally. You just gotta have your arms up in surprise. So here he is, trying to eat Wally. That ain't really working out too well. There we go. So there he is with Wally. Actually, let's get a picture. So ultimately, this one is obviously not going to be anywhere near the size of the HasLab one. I think the HasLab one planet alone is bigger than these rings. I could be wrong. And then here it is next to the newest Hot Rod. So you can see it's pretty big. And, oh God, I don't know what I'm going to do for big comparisons. I'm eventually going to have to pull out the ZETA Superion, but I'll do that for bot mode. Oop, I forgot I had lights turned off for taking pictures. I was wondering why that looked all like shadowy and cool and shit. Okay, so here's the thing, guys. Transforming this thing is a bear. Getting it out of planet mode only has one real tragic and difficult step. So I guess we have to get to it, huh? I have no idea where my microphone is pointed, so hopefully the audio is okay. Also, for another comparison, just for the heck of it, here he is next to NHG Gundam, you know. This chair makes a lot of creaking noises. Okay, so let's do the thing. I'm having to work around a lot of wires here, so let's go ahead and pull this off. Keep our spudger handy because we're going to need that, I'm sure, at some point. Okay, so we need to separate the rings after taking him off the base. And he's going to spend most of his time on his back. Let's go ahead and fold away spikes for safety's sake. At least all the ones that can easily be folded away. These four, there's no folding them away. They're just annoyingly there. Okay, fold these. And then half of them, when you fold them, they come off the thing. So, something to be wary of. You can see as I'm closing them, they're like popping off. And actually transforming them the first time, I got poked a couple times. It's not that bad, but it's annoying. Okay, so if you watch the Taro video, you'll see one thing I have to alter to get him well into this mode. So I want to very gently pull up on this like that. And then if you have mine, yours separates super easy right there. If you have one that hasn't been modified, see also broken, then you'll have a much harder time. If you'll notice right here, for those who also own this, there's a tab missing right there. That saves you so much effort. So you can just yoink and then separate. It's still a pretty hardy connection, so. And this might be the one I just did, so it's a little tighter. Okay, and then we want to come over here. You can transform him with the wings on, but it's so much easier to not. Whoa! Gotta be careful now. Okay, so just move that up and out of the way. Flip these out just for clearance. And very carefully just yoink that off, and then quick transformation. It's one problem with having a, beach ball shaped object. Actually, I would say he's roughly a bowling ball. Yeah, he's pretty much the size of a bowling ball. Let's say, he's a few pounds. So he's not a terrible bowling ball, as it were. Okay, so we've already got the first step, at least on this side, done. Just get this up and out the way. It will tab in right here, like so. And then we also want to untab these guys. You can do this one of two ways. You can either untab it now, or you can wait a little bit later, because it might get easier. Yeah, it'll get easier later. I'll just do it then. Okay, so the easiest place to start is where we finished, and that's with these panels here. So unplug that section. Go ahead and fold those corners away. This one wasn't as tabbed in, so it's a little bit easier to do. And you can do this around all four sides. It's at least two hemispheres, right? I just gotta remember it folds outward, not forward. See, if you pull here, you don't quite get it. If you pull up here, it's actually tabbed in here. This is just cover down. Flip that out, tuck that away, and tuck that away. And what we end up with is this number. So you can just sort of sit like this if you really want something to break. There's actually a technodrome in this thing. Dude, they could redeco this as the Death Star. They could redeco them as a technodrome. That'd be super easy as a technodrome. You just put an eyeball thingy right here and lose the horns. Oh, they really have to do some stuff to us. Okay, it's not Hasbro, so I doubt they'll do a lot of redecos. All right, so we want to come right here and untab that from there, untab it from here, and untab it from there. And that will just flop out of your way. And we'll do the same all the way around. Unplug that. This can just flop out. Make life easy. Untab. Actually, I may as well untab it over here. Like so. I did have to trim this little nub right there. I had to trim that down for this to actually function. These would not tab in out of the box. So I don't know if anybody else has had that problem, but that was definitely a problem that mine had. Okay, so separate all that, and then now this whole section is loose. And then next, you want to come up here to these, and they just pop out, tabbed in there, tabbed in there. Voila. Oops, I missed one. So take that out, flip that down. Okay. And then untab, slide out, untab, slide out. Okie dokie. So now what we need to do is unfurl the arms. So these are tabbed in up here, plugged in there, and then there's a good sized plug down here. I'm actually gonna go ahead and fold these away because those are just easier to deal with when they're all tucked up. I gotta watch my timer because I know this takes a long time to do. Oop, hung up here. There we go. Okay, so all that's tucked away. So, where am I gonna grab this guy? So, this part down here, probably the easiest to unplug. Also, you can totally see the hands right here. It's budger. So I can unplug that from there. And then get that out of there. And then those tabs, you can just sort of lift up until you untab it, like so. Do the same thing over here. And what I'll probably do in this case is just transform one side and then do the other side. Come on, let go. Sometimes they hold on a little bit more. There we go. Okay, so now with all this sort of freed, we get this whole panel up here sort of untabbed, and then we want to straighten out the arm a little bit to give us some room. And we're going to pull down, get that untabbed until we can get the shoulder out, which is always a fun exercise. All right, so we start up here at the top of the shoulder. I don't know where my lights are. Hold on. A little bit better here. Okay, and then this is awkward, but you have to rock this up. It's on a double hinge, like so. So you want to clear these two little posts enough to close these two panels, which are super tight pinned in. And then for the shoulder section here, spin this 180 and then close it up. It sort of, where's it go? Okay, so those tab in like that, and then these peg in there, and then you want to pull this out as far as it'll go past those little nubs, and you're good for the shoulder. For the forearm, and flip that up, pull the hand out and around. This guy flips up, and then this is the right hand. Okay, so for the hand, Since it's the right hand, we'll turn the arm that way, turn it that way. And then for here, we will turn this way, flip these around so the spikes are now on the outside. And then you've got this tower, so to speak, that has to go into that hole for alignment purposes. Like so. And then we want to close these down. Ow! Pointy. Like so. And then I'll deal with the hand itself later. Okay, so that's both arms completed. Now you just end up with a very angry looking whatever this is. And now we need to come down here. So be careful. So much for that. And need to pop these little clippies. There we go. Some are easier than others. And then we can pull that out. Now here's the thing. Well, actually here, we need to go ahead and fold these away, get them out of the way, because this is where it turns into something difficult. Come up. I might have to stand up for this. So far I've been doing this sitting down, and I had to do most of the transformation standing up before. So we have to get this panel up here in a minute. Pull this off, rotate that around, plug it back in. Same thing. Come on. There it is. Okay, so we need to kind of cut those loose. And now we need to get this up and out. And kind of wiggling the ankle is a good way to do it, because all of this is the entire foot and ankle assembly, which, you know, just clearancing a little bit and then lifting up, utilizing a joint to try to get this loose like so. Here, that ratchet finally give up. There we go. Now I saw a really nice stop motion of this, and I don't even know how they did it. I'm gonna have to stand up to do this next part. Okay, so the most complicated part of this is yoinking this and the corresponding side out. There are two very heavy clips that hold this side of this guy on. But I think what I'll do first is go ahead and break all this loose. It was all just kind of tabbed into itself. I'm going to tuck this guy under here, spin it around, and close it up. That's the backside of the legs. Do the same thing over here. Pop all that off. Flip it around. Tuck it under. Nice and neat. And that's gone. Okay, so several things that you need to look out for here, along with all these other panels. So these here are actually tabbed onto here. So there's posts on the legs that are tabbed into this. So you got to remember to unplug that, which one time I forgot. And I was like, why am I struggling so bad? And then I looked and I was like, oh. Okay, so as previously stated, there's a couple of clips that are holding it in place. And other than sheer brute force, I have not found a good way to do this, and I hate doing it every time. I'm trying to find a good spot. You can see the clip right in there. Right there, that guy. And there's two of those, one on each side. I'm going to raise the light up so I can see a little bit better on the camera. And like I said, I think we're going to have to move and stand up for this without having my foot tangled in freaking wires. Okay. And the problem is there's no good way to pull. There's no good way to leverage it. Even with a spudger, there's nothing to get in there and push against, let alone actually get a good enough spot to grab. It's actually, I found it easier to grab the opposite side, because you also want to be pulling it at a downward angle. Okay, it's that one. Felt good. Let's see, can I get the other side that easy? Probably not. It's always one side that's definitely held harder than the other. Oh, jeez, okay. I will tell you that the easiest that's come loose ever. Okay, sit back down. Hold on, I'm gonna move the camera here so I can function. Okay, so now that that's free, we're going to extend the leg out and down and up. That doesn't make sense, I know, but because you have a lot of things that interfere, especially these parts down here. So you got to slide it. You can see I'm sliding it up. And then I also need to be straightening out the knee at the same time. Normally this just goes in one fell swoop. I don't know why. There we go. Okay, so that's one whole leg. I'm going to go ahead and do all the transformation for this leg, and then we'll do the other side. Probably off camera. So the back of the leg can just fold up, tab in like so, and then with these guys here, you're gonna flip these 180 and you're gonna tuck it up into here. And then, oh yeah, I gotta get this part done first. That's right, okay, so flip 180 and just get this out of the way. As for these parts, also you can totally see the insides there, which I'll show off more here in a second. So these, it's on a hinge. It's on a hinge there with a swivel, and it's mounted mostly to translucent, which is always fun. And you can see there's a slot. Let's see, actually I can come up and look more down at it. There we go. So the slot here is where these big tabs are going to go, and that's actually what's going to hold your leg in place. So you want to sort of, pinch your finger in place. If you don't, well, you didn't make it happen. Kind of shove those in and down like that and like that. And it will clearly just go straight in once you got it. So now what we got here is an open slot. So rotate this to here, spin this around, you got a tab, you got a slot. Basically do that number, come around here, do exactly the same thing. And sometimes these won't tab in super easy, but you'll get it. Can't see where it's going on. Okay, so foot time. So for clearance sake, go ahead and pull it out on the ratchets. Push the toes up and unfurl it like so. Turn these guys out like that. And then I'm going to rotate the leg here, which I'm going to have to do anyways, so, but just so you can see a little bit better. So this right here is going to make the heel, and I like how they did this. So which way does it tab in? I think it's right here. Okay, so you got two separate parts here, and then if you come under here, you got a hinge and a swivel and a ball. No, not a ball joint. Okay. So untab it from there. So you got a tab there, you have a tab here. Now this is fun. Gonna swivel this around. Sorry. Swivel that around like so. And then where the two tabs are, they'll go into this groove. So you actually take the same part and then you end up using it to make the foot do something else entirely, which is pretty cool in and of its own self. Hold on, shove that in. There we go. Okay. So that's it for that leg. Going to transform the other one and then we'll continue. So I'm having like flashbacks. So like there's some strange similarities between this and the DX9 Gabriel we did not long ago. Oops. Okay. So once again, I'm working around here. One thing that gave me a little help was that this pulled up just a little bit. You can see a little gap there. So we don't need these open anymore. So we can close those up like so. Of course, now we're dealing with the full width of his legs as he becomes a breakdancer. Okay, so like so. Where are we at now? All right, so we need to. Oh, hey. We can bring these up like so, utilizing that double hinge. Just sort of straighten them out. And then you rotate there to some degree. I guess I should have got the legs 100%, huh? Okay, so let's finish up the legs. That was my bad. So gonna rotate here at the hip, like directly on the hip. Okay, how about this? We'll rotate it to thigh first, then we'll rotate the hip to where it, makes anatomical sense. The knee will have to be rotated as well because the leg goes facing the wrong direction there. Okay, so. Okay, leg turned that way. Oy. Then spin it around that way. In theory, that can go either direction because the thigh just rotates 180 degrees. And then we'll grab the feet and we're going to designate that as front. And I just knocked off a set of wings, but that's okay. It's just too much going on the desk here. Okay, so legs, once again, just go ahead and use them. Straighten him out. Get him up on his feeties. And we'll turn him around. And one good thing is these feet are super stiff. So they'll hold him up fairly nice. Okay, so just tuck that to where it's good. Just kind of line everybody up. Yeah, drop the wing, pick that up. Okay, so back to what I was doing where I was trying to rotate this section. So rotate that, and then this will come up, plug up into there, and you've got a hole, you've got a peg. There, like so. Then there's our front and back skirt. I've got the arms backwards for now, but that's okay. So what I'll do is I'll just rotate this way. Go ahead and sit him down. And then this whole upper body can spin that way. Cool. All right, you can see he's got a little teapot situation going on there. Also, his legs are not on the same click. There we go. That made things better, I think. I can't tell. Did they make them better, Jimmy? I think they did. Oh, let's rotate there. Okay. Hoy, large robots. Not the easiest things in the world to deal with. Okie dokie. So, from here, I need to go ahead and straighten out that arm, or else you're going to end up hitting some stuff. Okay, and then we can just push this down and some stuff happens. I'm just going to go ahead and move these out the way. And so this whole gray piece here is like a big slider. Like that. Nope, a little off. There we go. So we got a little action going on up here, and that's fine. Okay, where am I at? Yes, okay. So this section you want to lift up, and there's a couple tabs that slide in there. Now, before we go too far, I'm going to point out the cool inner chest detail here. So that looks like the mind of UNICRON. You got this whole setup here, which is pretty obvious in the movies, though I will point out the fact that that's definitely not on center. How's the other side look? Just as bad. I gotta wonder if that piece is backwards. I bet it is. Actually, I don't know if that would make a difference, because they're both off to the same degree. So like this section is off by the same amount front to back, which is interesting to say the least. But since we're here on this side, I'll go ahead and do this part too. Ah, dang it. I knew that was going to happen. Okay, hold on, I gotta fix this. So this is something you might encounter as well on yours. Okay, so I've got this untabbed, but what happened is, as you can see right here, this post is supposed to be in that hole. And this happens sometimes when you're finagling things. The only way to deal with it is to pop this back up. At least one notch, so that you have some room to move. And try to get that guy back in there. Son of a bitch. There we go. It's a very, very hard ratchet. Okay. God damn it. Okay, so I had to go to extremes. So I'm gonna come in here, put that in. Some ways I would just say glue that if you have the ability. Let's push this back down. Now that that's all secured. Okay, so now for what we have to do here. So we want to bring this down. I'm going to come inside. I want to unplug the kind of mandible horn here. And then you're going to use everything at your disposal. Sorry, I forgot you have to rotate it all the way inward. Basically what's going to happen is you're going to push it through that gap. I dropped my spudger. So that gap, you're going to thread your horn through. And then before you push it all the way through, going to do the other side, because you might have to clearance some stuff. And you just want to be careful, because this is how those get warped. So if you got one that's sticking out too proud, then it will push into the other side and it will get bent. So just got to be careful, and then go ahead and push the whole thing in on both sides. If you have this orange tab in spot, it's good. And then you want to close these up. A couple tabs on the side, like so, and like so, It's weird that there's a little bit of a gap to it. Pretty sure it's not supposed to. Okay. Same thing back here. Okay, get these shoulders up. Oh wait, we don't want them totally up. We want them out for clearance sake. We're facing forward again. Okay, so let's grab a wing. And give it a little bit of a tilt. Plug it in. Find all your spikies. Once again, mind all your spikies. Okay. Yeah, I'm facing forward. Okay. And then finally, we come to the final part, the big reveal. So go ahead and lift up on this, open this up, and you got to have shoulder clearance here. So you want to flip this around and close these in, tilt this back, close all those in. Go ahead and swing this one back. Do this one. Close. And then cinch those around the back. Go ahead and straighten out his horns. Bring his shoulders up. And I think we are done. And there is our destroyer of worlds, the planet eater, the chaos bringer, studio cell. And trying to get his foot balanced. There we go. All right. Ooh, that was a pain. And he is a big boy. Let's see. He's actually leaning forward just a bit. So what I tend to do is just give him one click of the son of a bitch. Get in there. Give him one click of the thighs, and then give him a little bit of bend. Son of a bitch. Stop popping out. Jesus Christ. Can you guys tell the most annoying part of this thing yet? It's the wings, of course. Something I forgot to do was kind of unfold the hands, but that's okay. Let's go ahead and do that now. Get the fingers unfurled, the thumb out, and just kind of get him there. Same thing over here. Stretch out your fingers. Get your thumb out, and there we go. Boy, my back hurts. Now that I got him all transformed up, and he just looks so damn cool. Let's just check this out. So for the head, you know, it's got a multitude of paints, has his nice molded in mustache. He does also have, of course, his green metallic eyes, which if you push the little hidden button back here, does light up, although kind of hard to see from certain angles. Also, I think the battery's probably getting low. I believe those are LR44s. Can't recall now. I'm bothered. Okay, so the head itself is on a ball joint and then a swivel, so you can get it to move around. The horns can move in and out. Whoop-de-doo. Turn that off. And his mouth does open. You can get it pretty open. pull that up a little bit more. You can get a little bit more angle out of it, which is very nice. Love the molded in teeth. And there's actually a cutout below there so that the chin can actually tuck away, which is cool. Does he have... Yeah, you can look down about that far when you extend it up a little bit. Obviously, we've seen all the chest details and such. Though, something I didn't really cover, his little translucent red belly bits can open, and it's just kind of a hollow pass-through. But there's no, like, concept of, like, that lighting up or anything. So I'm not entirely certain why they did that. It just looks nice, I guess. I guess so you can actually get a little bit of light from behind and kind of light it up. There's no LEDs for that, though. Okay, so if you come to the wings, each one can do the thing. It does have up and down mobility using the ratchet point there. If you unlatch it from there, it gets a little wonky, but you can do it. Also, the shoulders, utilizing that lovely heavy ratchet double hinge there. You can pull it out for clearance sake. And I don't think it can go all the way around. I was just like, that's a hard stop right there. Let's see. Can I go the other way? No? Okay. So it does not do a 360. That's interesting. It really, I mean, like, that's honestly, I did not know. Couldn't do that. So you can utilize that. You got bicep swivel, ratcheted double elbow. So he can move about very nicely. I like the mix of yellow paints. So you get the yellow-ish and then like the slightly darker orange. Of course, all the surface stuff here, along with the spines that you have to put on and they give you no instructions for. Also, screw hole covers they give you instructions for. So like this one, and a bunch of others throughout the thing. They give you no instructions. You just gotta have to figure it out. The patroneers got to see me figure that out on the out-the-box reaction and review. I did not try to transform him in that review, mind you. Okay, so you can also have the spikes out if you want for robot mode, but I think he just looks cleaner without it. And you got the wrist hinge that we saw during transformation. It's not even a hinge, really. I mean, you get a little bit of a hinge with that. And then, of course, if you want to move the thumb out of the way, you can do all that. You can position each finger. It's a very Zeta / Toy World like hand. Even a tab in the middle as though he's meant to hold something. So I bet down the line he may or may not get an accessory for that, or somebody will figure it out. I don't know. I like that though. It's pretty cool. Alright guys, so one little detail thingy I neglected to point out, but I remember when I'm filming the outro, you'll see that eventually. Inside the arms here, much like the chest, they included a little bit of fan service. And you can see right in here the little claw hands and stuff, the hoses and things like that, that were chasing our heroes inside Unicron's body in the movie. That's super cool. Something you definitely didn't have to do. Also, it's weird that they put it right there, but it was a neat detail for them to include, much like the stuff hidden in the chest with Unicron's core, so to speak. But yeah, there we go. Come back to the torso. It does, of course, rotate and has an ab crunch. See, here's the window that opens and you can just sort of reach in. So he has an ab crunch. You can utilize. That sort of came about when I was transforming him for a little bit more room. I mean, you can really like get him bent over. So, I mean, it's pretty cool. I'm holding him up though, because I definitely don't need him to fall over. Okay, so crank that back down. And of course, hip skirts get up and out the way. And I think if you guys were paying attention to the transformation sequence, you know how much his legs can move. And if you get the side skirts up and out the way, of course, he can go straight out the side. He's going to do the splits. His legs can kick fully forward. He's got thigh rotation, thigh bend, knee bend out to there. All super heavy ratchets. You got rotation there. The feet can pivot, and you can see there double hinge along with all the toes and associated foot parts capable of moving on their own so that you can really get him to stand. He's actually super stable. And I would like to point out that he doesn't need a stand to stand in robot mode. Just thought I'd point that out for reasons. I mean, like, you can figure out the reason that I'm pointing that out, but, you know, I don't want to say it out loud too much. And yeah, he's got all the extra painted details down here on the legs, which are pretty cool. You know, these were mostly all hidden, of course. So the, like, thruster thingy here, that was on the surface. Then you got extra here. You got little yellow, orangey paint. More gunmetal paint all over there. It's very well done, to be totally honest. And of course, you still get some of the planet mode here on the back of the legs. And that's pretty much the only exposed planet stuff is on the legs. And that's pretty cool. Unlike another version of a Unicron that literally has the planet mode stacked about yay thick on the legs and or on the back. Okay. So, yeah, he's just pretty epic. Sorry, I meant to show off the pistons here that are painted as well. Super nice. And if we come up, actually, let's stay down here for a minute. Let's turn him around. Push him back so we can see some stuff. And there is Studio Series Hot Rod. So he's not even quite up to his knees, roughly shin height, if you will. And Wally Meister. Now there's something that is missing that I had for this, and I don't know where I put it. I had something prepared. Wally. Oh, I didn't realize I was filming that. And of course he does pass the Wally test, where you can hold him. In fact, he holds him actually pretty well because his fingers fit right between the notches, so that's cool. Let's see here, kind of balance him out just a little bit. There we go. It's actually very, very cool. All right, guys, so after all taking photos with Wally and whatnot, I wanted to show off a meaningful comparison here, and it is the ZETA Supertron that we looked at last year, which is a good combiner. Some issues, obviously, as you've seen with the thing. I also forgot he had the rubber feet things on there to keep him like super stable. That's awesome because he didn't slide at all on the glass. Now, the main reason for this is, of course, to show off his overall size. If you have any of the third-party combiners that are Toy World scale, that's where he's going to fit. A little bit shorter. Probably closer to X-Transbots, if I think. Are they the short ones? Or shorter ones? I don't know. Somebody will correct me. Things I'm not into. But the other reason to bring this up is that that's a ZETA product. That was a ZETA product. Let me explain for those who really weren't paying attention when it happened. So, very quick history lesson here. Obviously, Hasbro has their War for Cybertron trilogy UNICRON that came out, HasLab. And it is just now getting out to people who pre-ordered it. I was not one of them. I wanted to get it. I did not get permission to buy it given its overall expense. I ended up saving up enough money to get Toy World Devastator and Flame Toys Prime instead, and that's fine. Now, at the same time that HasLab was trying their damnedest to get backers, they needed, what was it, 5,000, something like that, to overall make Unicron happen. And they were struggling because a lot of people didn't want to spend that $600 to make it happen. And then they weren't showing off enough with it to really justify the price. And so a lot of people weren't going to get on board. And then a few things happened. They started potentially pulling some backdoor deals, poking some online retailers, both here and overseas. I said, hey, if you really want anything from Hasbro, you're going to need to buy a whole bunch of these to make this happen. And then that's how you end up with $800, $900, $1,000 Unicrons from other online retailers. Not are all that expensive, let's just be fair, but certain ones are still stupid expensive if you didn't get in on the original HasLab release. However, in the middle of struggling, they'd already done one extension, if I remember correctly. ZETA, who made the Spiritron, teased, I believe, the spiky shoulders, if I remember correctly. Something with spikes. And I think they showed off a hand or a wing. And then they showed off the head. They made it very, very clear they had a very cartoon accurate Unicron coming compared to the giant folded Pringle that was the HasLab one. And then it was started to be rumored that it was only going to cost $250. And people lost their shit. They started canceling their HasLabs. They started ordering this from showstore.z, which was in one of the only places you could still hold the original ZETA pre-order. And then, all of a sudden, every post about it disappeared. Every pre-order listing disappeared, except for the one. And then eventually, that one disappeared, and the name changed. And then after Unicron, the official, was funded enough to get done, then mysteriously, a few months later, this showed up under the guise of Studio One Cell. Only the body, no head, no wings, and it was only going to be, $300 some odd. And then they showed off the other part, the armor part, and then there's your head, there's your wing, sold separately. Still under that guise. So, less than speculation, but not hardcore evidence, is that Hasbro definitely said, hey, don't do that. And they went, why? You let us do everything else. And they said, because we're Hasbro. And ZETA went, oh, I forgot you were Hasbro. The toy mafia, basically, is how it comes down to. So while they're able to put out a lot of other things, seemingly, or at least re-release things, Unicron here, which was going up against the largest Transformer in history, the most expensive single Transformer in history, was coming in and undercutting them massively, even at the cost of the $430 I paid for this, I believe, from Chosen Prime, with a couple discounts. Guys, seriously, save up your points. It's worth it at Chosen Prime. I just used it again to get another. Anyways, for them to come out and undercut Hasbro so bad has never been done in the history of third-party Transformer companies. Not knockoff companies, those have existed. Hasbro's been shutting a bunch of them down. Specifically knockoffs, not third-party developers, not companies that create their own stuff. This is the first time we've really seen Hasbro actively take down a figure of a company. Now, some stuff has shown up from ZETA, mostly movie stuff, like Bayverse, things like that. Re-releases of like Spiritron here in different deco. It was Kronos, now he's Spiritron. We got the Legends scale version of that coming. I'm not interested in that because I've already got things. Plus, they haven't shown the size that it will go with. I mean, I'm down for getting the individual aerial bots as the small ones. I'd be okay with that, I think, because I already have full-size guys for the combiners. But when it came to literally the most expensive thing they've ever tried to do, only the second or third, rather, thing HasLab had ever tried to put together, RIP Cookie Monster, they weren't going to let some company just waltz in and literally undercut them. But once UNICRON official was set, they said, okay, now you can put it out, but you can't. You, as ZETA, probably cannot do this. So they opened up a doors of a new name, and boom, we get the Studio One cell. Now, I criticize this. Now, I mentioned this in my unboxings and stuff like this. I criticized this move heavily and said that it was really, really shitty for ZETA to do that, because no one ever had the balls. Even Fans Toys, which are like the darlings of third party, even they, when they had their MP Hot Rod coming out, put it off for like a year and a half so that the updated Takara MP Hot Rod could come out first, because they knew that if Takara Hasbro was putting out an official product, they weren't going to beat them to market, except for the primes, which I still think is all really shitty for those three companies to have put out masterpiece versions of Optimus Prime when they knew that MP43 was coming. I already forgot the number, but 3.0 Optimus. And then they beat them to market, undersold them, and made them look like shit, essentially. But this was the first time that they said, nope, we're going to put out a Unicron that's going to be better than your Unicron in every way. And for my final opinion on this Unicron, if you want a movie accurate, or at least very movie accurate, not 100%, but very close approximation of Unicron, get this one. If you want an enormous planet mode Unicron that costs $200 to $300 more than this one, go track down a HasLab. I guarantee you a bunch of people are going to sell theirs. But here's the interesting thing. Since people have been getting the initial release of the HasLab, they've discovered you can, with very little effort, remove all of the planet shell parts from the body and have just a standalone Unicron and almost build a complete planet form without the main bot being crammed inside of it. Now you're going to lose the wings and a couple other small details, and it's not clean. I would suggest go look at the Prime v Prime or Prime versus Prime video if you want to see how to do it. And it's not clean, but it's huge. A lot of people I know online have said they will get the HasLab or the whatever you want to call it and keep it in planet mode because it is absurdly big as a centerpiece. And that's great. And if you want to have the stupid little ship and use the stupid itty bitty crappy versions of Galvatron and Hot Rod, I mean, you can. I think they're crap considering, and unnecessary, to be totally honest. But I think that's a good alternative for planet mode. This one's good. This planet mode's good. That one looks definitely more like the movie. Some people, like Tim K, definitely criticize the rings for being very hollow. I mean, realistically, these, you can see the details are there, but because of the size, these couldn't be hollow. They would be completely brittle and fall apart. So I'm actually okay with the way that his rings/wings look on the HasLab. I think it's fine. If I had it, I would keep him in planet mode forever. And then probably have a display of the Studio 86 stuff around him. And it's weird that they're doing Unicron for the War for Cybertron series, not in the Studio 86 series. And then they also have a new Rodimus Prime coming in the Kingdom line, not in the Studio 86 line. And we already have an RC, which I have over there. Need to open up, not in the 86 line, in the Siege/Kingdom line. So it's like the Hasbro's mixing their movie stuff with their mainline stuff, and it gets annoying, and you get a whole lot of their mainline stuff in there. If you want something that would be considered a masterpiece design Unicron, this one is the one you want. If you want a gigantic version, which towers over this, to be totally honest, by what, 10, I think 10 inches, something like that. Because this guy is 17, thereabouts. I don't have a measuring tape right, I'll show you. But he's shorter than my City Bots. You know, all my City Bots back there. Definitely shorter than the City Bots. Those things are in the 20 some odd inch range. You know, 21, 22, 23 inch. Unicron, I think, is 26 or 28 inches. So there you go. If this is what you want, I'm not going to criticize you for getting it, because obviously I did. If you are hating on the HasLab version, but you didn't purchase it, you might want to look into why you're hating on it. Is it because it's crap, or are you jealous that you couldn't get it? Because realistically, I really wanted the HasLab one. I would still get it if it was cheaper. I think a lot of people would still get it if it was cheaper. If nothing else, for the planet mode. This one, while expensive for what it is, because it's smaller than a combiner that costs $600, and that's 5 individual bots along with a whole bunch of stuff. This one, while good, you know, you don't have a big old head that you can convert to dead head mode, which is something I would do. I would totally pull the head off, and I would have it floating separately. In fact, it would be cool to get the like Cybertron / Primus, and then have the Unicron head floating around it. That would be kind of cool in my mind. But for me, what I'm going to do with this Unicron, I'm going to wait for New Age to come out with all of their movie bots, because they've got their Ultra Magnus coming. We've already got Galvatron. It's out in some places. I just haven't ordered it. I will. So once we start getting movie bots, I'm going to put this guy with my movie bots, almost like a movie poster. So I'll have all the movie bots down below doing their thing, Galvatron versus Hot Rod, and other stuff like that. And then I'll build out a shelf like that of movie bots, and then I'll have my Studio 86 bots on a whole separate, more Hasbro related shelf. And then just like how I have my my City Bots and combiners fighting amongst themselves and stuff like that, I'll probably have the same with this Unicron. What will be really fun to do is have a scale, like curved surface of Cybertron. I have that arm, like, twah. That'd be fun. But guys, that's it for this review. I know it was super long, majorly in-depth transformation. I'm sorry. Of course, I had the Taro video as well, which mixes in both how to get him in the box to his cell mode, and then, of course, converting to just regular planet mode, stuff like that. So by all means, watch that as well. It will be linked at the end credits if it hasn't already been linked above in the eye thingy. But this is a fantastic piece. It's worth it. It's a difficult piece. That's one thing I say. Masterpiece design, masterpiece engineering, not masterpiece scale, because you can't make a masterpiece scale thing that's the size of a planet, because it would be huge. Consider that. It's like, we need an accurate masterpiece scale Unicron. Okay, so you need one that's big enough that your MP Hot Rod or MP Ultra Magnus can drive through his eye and crash in. And Springer, you need a Springer in there, large enough that his head, you could drive through that and then move around on the interior. That reminds me, I didn't show off some of the hidden details. I'll do that now. But YouTube time travel. But I'll catch you guys next time. Make sure you like and subscribe and do all the things. Go look at all the other third-party Transformers reviews I've done, especially the combiners and even the big old DX9 Gabriel over there, who definitely towers over this guy. It would have been interesting to see if DX9 or somebody else would get in with ZETA and make a Unicron. I don't think anybody else had the balls. Fans Toys at least showed off a giant Fort Max that may or may not come down the line. We'll see. But here's a question. Would you like to see them do other versions of Unicron, such as, you know, from the Energon Unicron trilogy, you know, anything like that? Would you like to see them do a Primus in the same vein? Or would you, and give them more like that IDW DreamWorks style Primus? I think that would be neat. Also, they totally should do a Death Star. And what was the other one I mentioned? I forget. It was Death Star and then another big spherical thingy, but I already forgot. So a Death Star version would be very cool. But I'm done with that. I'll catch you guys next time. Remember, as always, keep on nerding.